All right, greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amuna, and I pray everybody is doing well. We are about to get into this video, and it is looking at the nursing industry. Okay, we have Renee Armstead already saying, hello, Imuna. It's so very stressful, and we have been tired of working short staff for a few years now. Renee is currently a nurse. So, definitely, this is something that I saw coming all across YouTube. Not YouTube. What's the name of the next one? The talk. Okay. And I was like, let's have this discussion because if there are no nurses in the hospitals, in a system that many people have health conditions, then what is going to be the condition of the people? Right. So let's go ahead and get into this. I want to thank everybody for joining us. All right. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Let me know also what your experience has been. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. We're going to go through a series of TikToks because again, it was it is often thought of that Caribbean people should go into nursing. And people, so when I was coming up, is you should become a nurse, not whether or not nursing was for me. And I'll definitely share some of my nursing stories. I did ultimately do HHA and then did CNA way back in the day. I'll comment on that in a minute, but let me hear some of the people who are currently in the field right now. All right. Because my experience, okay, that's all I have to say. Let me go ahead and take this off and share some of this TikTok here. And shout out to all the nurses, shout out to all the healthcare workers, shout out to all of those who get up every day and pour themselves in to other people in a capacity where a lot of people don't understand the emotional toll, the mental toll, the spiritual toll that it takes on people and why we are here, right? This generation is not necessarily that our previous generations didn't endure certain levels of abuse. It's that in this generation, the young people are not taking it anymore. All right. So let me know if you can hear me and everything is all to the good. And then we're going to get into some of these TikTok videos. Like Renee said, there has been a short staff of nursing. There has been a great exodus of people in the nursing industry. All right. So let's go ahead and watch some of these videos. This particular one, and I put some of them together. This one says, the woman says that she's quitting her job. Let's listen.
I'm quitting my nursing job. Yeah, I know, crazy. I have officially 2 weeks until I put my 2 weeks in. And honestly, this is a decision that I really struggled with because this is like the best nursing job I've ever had. Without a doubt. This is the most money I've been paid for nursing. I honestly think it's one of the highest.
So it sounds a little contradictory because a lot of people go into nursing today. And when I was going to go and possibly explore nursing, it was 20 years ago, right? So it definitely has changed. Even CNA positions have changed more so in the hospital than it was all those 20 something years ago. There's a lot of things that have changed in the field, but people who went in for many different reasons, as we're going to learn, some go to their BSN, some go get their LPN, some are not necessarily going in there for the right quote unquote reasons. And that may be contributing to all the reasons why people are quitting. But let's hear her. She's quitting even though she's making money. So why are you quitting?
Highest paying nursing jobs in the country. And I'm about to quit. I'm about to quit. Oh my God. I'm about to quit with absolutely nothing lined up. Just vibes. Just vibes. I couldn't be more excited, y'all. I could not be more excited. Y'all know I've been burnt out from night shift and I've gotten told no, that I can't switch to days.
So she's exciting about quitting. I mean, I've quit some jobs where you're excited at first and then you're like, uh-oh, That excitement sober up real quick. But what she's saying that her issue is that it's the night shift. It's burning her out. So let's continue.
For over a year now. I've been asking multiple times for over a year, and I still have not been switched to days. That's the biggest thing. I've told y'all night shift was ruining my life. I meant it. I'm willing to forego the cash. I'm willing to forego the prestige because night shift is ruining my life. That's
Wow. Wow. So is there no in between? Is there no in between? Is it just, can you look for, is she quitting her job to get another job? And I'm not going to be able to go through all of these, but we're going to notice a trend, right? So when you're in it and when they're in the thick of it and when all of these demands are put on them, it's like they want the pressure to be relieved. So in her case, she's
the
quitting.
first thing. Two, y'all know I'm tired of the ICU. I'm tired. I'm done. I'm done with the ICU. And working here, getting off night shift and getting out of the ICU, unfortunately, just is not an option. So yeah, I'm about to quit. I'm about to quit. So this
Another thing is just the high alert, ICU, the levels of adrenaline, the levels of anxiety, the levels of stress, the fact that it's at night. I could kind of see her issue, but we're going to continue. We have some people in the comment section. Or travel nurse, he's a dad. He's saying, yeah, don't quit before you find another job, right? Because it's like you have real bills to pay, really, depending on how much you have saved up. And the people are going back and forth with him in the comment section. And other people have questions about how long they've been in the career and things of that nature. So this one was pretty interesting. Another girl says, Lauren says she quit her job with none lined up last year. She went back to nurse practitioner school and find an easy prep, pay, pack you part-time job. It all worked out. You got this. And again, in the healthcare system, many people are like, hey, they quit today and there's so much of a need that they just go across the street or up the block and get another job, right? So another person says, I'm the queen of quitting without a plan. Things always work out. You'll be fine and it'll work out for you. Nicole says that you're not the only one. Night shift pay is great, but I couldn't do it anymore. I could barely think straight at 3 a.m. And remember, what are you thinking? You're thinking about how you're supposed to be taking care of these patients, how you're supposed to be administering the right medication, how you're supposed to be meeting the needs of the sick. And at 3 a.m., if you're burnt out, my coworkers, and I hear this a lot too, because I've been seeing this for some time now, are toxic. So they're talking about how the mean girls all went into nursing. And that's curious how you're into a profession of taking care of people, but you're not into taking care of people. Not everybody, but I'm talking about the mentality. So the co-workers were toxic and she couldn't stand the disrespect and drama anymore. Another person says night shift makes life so non-enjoyable. And another person said that night shift messed them up bad. So there's a lot of night shift nurses in night nurse. Only you are one. The Gregory Isaac night nurses in the comment section. Only you are one can quench this thirst. They are in the brutal grasp of night shift and they are pouring out into this here comment section. Let's go on to someone else. But Andrea says that she's never been more tired in her life than after a night shift. And you never really recover. I don't understand the night shift lifers. Because of your circadian rhythm, everything is off. Your day is upside down, inside out. You have to do things for you to stay awake. And it really wreaks havoc on your body after a while. So let's go. She's telling us why she's quitting. It was the night shift. It was the stress of the ICU. Let's go on to someone else.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough. I literally cannot even relate to the girl who was in this video anymore. And when I say the girl who was in this video, I'm talking about me. Like, I cannot stress to you guys enough how much of a difference I feel. Like I said, I was literally like contemplating suicide. I had to go out on a stress leave because I was so stressed out.
So what's her name here? She's saying, I believe it's Nini, is saying that her mental health was so compromised This is what a lot of people are not telling you on your way in, right? That your mental health is so compromised that she doesn't, at this point, she was contemplating her own self. Queenie says she was humming Night Nurse. Night Nurse. Only you are one can quench the shatters. So she was so much at a deficit in the position that she was in. She was losing her mental status. Now, yes, we need money out here to survive in these streets, but what are these jobs or the demands of these jobs doing to people? Let's continue.
When I tell y'all, your work environment makes a huge difference. Your coworkers make a huge difference. If you're working with people that are team players versus people that will like let you sink and drown, it makes a huge difference. If you're in an environment that does not allow you to thrive and is like mentally tearing you down and tearing your body down physically, you're not going to thrive. It's not going to work. The lack of patient ratios alone in Las Vegas is enough to make you go crazy as a nurse. If you are thinking about quitting nursing, please give California a try. I'm not saying that every hospital out here is rainbow and sunshine, but I am saying that the working conditions out here and the state laws make it so much more tolerable to be a nurse. I literally cannot even relate to me mentally how I feel. And I'm talking about on and off the clock, because your work, since you're there so much, it affects how you feel when you're off of the clock as well.
So essentially, she's talking about the environment, the work environment, the stress related. Yeah, you're going to get the money at the end, but is it worth it? Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Let's continue. Let's continue. Somebody says they became a mortgage banker, trauma ER nurse for years, to a mortgage banker because her soul was literally fading away. Now, how is and it may be, and this is just my outside observation, that because it's a sick care model and it's not a healing model, for the healthcare industry, it is not only affecting the patients, but it's also negatively affecting the provider. Because if it was a wellness model, then the doctor, this teacher, this leader would come in a state of already wholeness. And they're extending to the patient that level of wholeness that they possess for themselves. But in many of these cases, the people who are administering care are not whole themselves. So it is actually hurting everybody involved. It's really just a maintenance and distribution of medicine that's keeping these people going. Let's continue. Now, I know people think, well, this is not juicy, Amuna. We trying to figure out if people are black or if they are white or what's going on. But it will become very important as we move forward, because the most I forbid people don't find themselves in this situation, but they're going to realize how important it is, because this is the backbone of this particular society, especially because healthcare is such big business. These are the front line workers, right? We see what happened a few years ago. Levon says that they just hate nursing now overall. They're done and want out, already looking into a new degree. They'll stay in healthcare, but done with patient care. So if the people are not on the front line, if the people are not attending to the people who are in the hospital, where is this leading to? Dimple says she totally understands. If you scroll down in her page, you will know she gets it. Trust. Okay. Jessica says she left 16-year healthcare patient clinical care career job last week. She's never going back. This is not one or two or three people who are leaving. The people are leaving in droves. Okay. Let's continue.
get ready with me to go and work a shift as a nurse. So I just don't like this job at all. This is now my 4th year working as a nurse, and I still don't like it. And I'm trying not to be negative at all, but it's just
So you go
genuinely how
there.
I
There is
feel.
also some rising material about these accelerated nursing schools for those who like going accelerated to get their nursing degrees, and then they go through all of that, the rigmarole, and they get to the other side, and then they're thinking about the money, but don't like whatever it is, whether it be the system, whether it be the environment, whether it be the patient care, whatever forward facing role this is. Here goes another person who's saying that their only true passion is early retirement. Someone, Bobby Lee, says, this seems like it's in Melbourne, Australia. Mate, I'm 24 years as an RN and I still don't like it. Hi, it's Katie says they quit nursing for tech. Best decision. What is going on? Let's continue. Me crying at night about being stuck in nursing, then seeing this. Let's continue.
Let's talk about why I left nursing. I graduated with a BSN from an accelerated program in 2016. I was a staffed RN for about a year and a half before I became a travel nurse for the next 2.5 years, and then I became a concierge nurse. After that, I left nursing and went into tech sales. The pay was so horrid. When I was an OR staff nurse in South Carolina, I was being paid $25 an hour. That came out to be about $48,000 a year, which was ridiculous to live. Hence why I became a travel nurse after about a year and a half, because I could not work for that horrid pay anymore. Travel nursing comes with its perks. You make so much more money. However,
so here goes another person saying why they couldn't be a nurse anymore and why they want their nurse burnout and why why they over here now leaving all of those technical skills they learned, to go into tech. Let's continue.
However, money does not equate to happiness, is what I learned really quickly. If you have the means to travel nurse, I support it, because if it wasn't for travel nursing, I wouldn't have been able to buy my own condo. I wouldn't have been able to leave nursing, because you do make a ton of money, but longevity wise, I could not be a travel nurse forever. Money can make life a lot easier, but money is not happiness. Having to switch hospitals on a regular basis, learning their systems every 3 months, having to earn the trust of the surgeons and the nurses. And by the way, the nurses, when you go to a new hospital, they can be really freaking mean. And just having thick skin all.
What is it about? And for the nurses out there, is this true? What is it about mean nurses? How are you going to administer care when you're mean and don't really care for people? Right? Someone says, Kayla says, can you talk about how you transition from nursing to tech sales, wanting to leave bedside, but the pay? Okay. Rachel says, nurses, when you go to a new hospital, are really mean. I relate to that so well. Treated like trash by your coworkers and patients does wonders for your mental health. Now they're realizing quickly that people are being lured over into nursing for money, but then money can't buy the best things in life are free. I mean, they're over there singing the best things in life are free, and money can't buy happiness. Queenie says, I can only imagine the mental health effects of the amazing humans that take on healthcare. I have a niece who wants to work in trauma A and E. She is an amazing mom to 6. Okay. So, yes, that is a lot to take on, especially caring for people who, I forgot to put my little thing up here, caring for people who are sick. Who are sick. Hold on one second. Still getting the hang of this situation. All right. So let's continue.
all the time, and just preparing for that social anxiety that you had to face as a travel nurse was enough for me to be over it. To make matters worse, I was 21 when I started travel nursing, so I really didn't have that much experience. So for me to always put up a front that I knew all my stuff, couldn't tell people how old I was because they were going to treat me differently, was really exhausting to keep up this act all the time. So making money as just an RN.
Get ready with me to go.
So she's young. There's all of these barriers. These all these barriers inside and outside, and ultimately she decided to leave. Let's continue.
I quit my dream job. No, seriously. Hi, I'm Shelby. I'm a new grad. I graduated in May of 2024 as an RN, and I got what I thought was my dream job.
Wait a minute, she just graduated this year. May, June, July, August, September. 4 months later, she's on the talker saying she quit. What in the world? Is there any such thing as a dream job, a dream person, a dream whatever? Isn't it why we always dream it? It's a reality that we have to work through, the good and the bad, like the expectation that it's going to be perfect and everything that we want. I think part of the issue is this unrealistic expectation that people have. But let's continue.
At graduation, well, actually before graduation, I got the job, and I quit 3 months later. So I got my first job in the ICU, which I cried happy tears when I got the job. And
is this an indictment on soft parenting? Is this an indictment on the participation awards? Like, I'm really trying to figure out, is it that the job has changed, or is it the caliber of people and the expectations of the people have changed? Like, I don't know. You guys let me know, because this is a lot of people going through all of this intellectual rigorous training to get into the field, but emotionally and mentally, right, once they get there, they're not able to stay or don't want to stay. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Let's continue.
still am trying to come to terms with my decision and like what I've done, but I'm trying to trust in God and know that things will work out. So, a little backstory, I did an externship while I was in nursing school. So between second and third semester,
We're going to keep going. She's going to give us a long backstory. Let's see. Anna says, I cried every shift as a new grad ED nurse for a solid 8 months because, and she's going to tell us why, she didn't feel qualified or smart enough. 6 years later, she can't imagine doing anything else. You will find your groove. So are you quitting too soon? Is it too early? Or do you have unrealistic expectations? Or do you just need to give a minute for you to, to get used to the situation? CJ says, a classmate of mine mentioned that more people will be leaving nursing. Then in a couple of years, we won't have much nurses to take care of the older generation. That's what it's looking like to me, KJ. Sorry, that's what it's looking like to me, because a lot of people are going in and dipping right back out. And with stuff like this out there, when I was growing up, you didn't really see the other side of nursing. Go to school and done nurse, and this is what you need to do, right? It's a good profession. It's either nurses or teachers. That's the two professions, Caribbean people. Nurse, teacher, or you go doctor, lawyer. It really depends. You understand? So now we have all of this backlash of people saying, no, there's an other side. How many people will want to keep going along and going in there? KG says, I quit 3 months into my nursing job as well. Don't let people tell you the overwhelming anxiety is, quote, normal new grad stuff. I'm 2.5 years in my new job and much happier. Are the people going in for the right reasons? Some people are saying it's normal. Other people are saying, this other person said that they quit 7 months later. Some people say they go into their car and cry. Some people are so tired that they just sleep in their car and don't have the energy to go home. Imagine if you have family at home. Do you even have the energy to invest in your family? There's just so much. There's so much, but let's continue.
Does show About 500,000 nurses are planning to leave the profession within the next 4 years.
All new for you this morning. Jamie Warren is.
Did she just say 500,000? This report was last year. 500,000? Where did she? I mean, based on what we're seeing on YouTube or and these streets, the internet streets, it is quite a significant exodus happening in this healthcare field.
Live looking into the impact here in Arizona. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Justin and Kaylee. It is a startling number, and the president of the Arizona Nurses Association tells me that burnout from the COVID-19 pandemic is partly to blame here, but there are other factors as well.
And we know some of the other factors from the horse's mouth. Let me see.
I'm even more excited to now go and be their primary RN.
Over the years, ASU has seen an increase in nursing school graduates, and that's important as Arizona ranks 7th in the country when it comes to states with the highest nursing shortage. How are they feeling?
From what I hear, and this is a universal feeling that I get from all of the nurses that I speak to, regardless of the setting, is that staffing continues to be a crisis. They're tired. They're doing their best to keep up.
Heidi Sanborn, president.
We see here abuse. Shannon says abuse by patients and families, ridiculous charting requirements, everything driven by point satisfaction scores, no respect from admins. Gina says nurses need to be paid more. They're the ones keeping patients alive. Dove says the job itself is stressful, but you also have colleagues from the pits of Sheol. I put that part in there, right? Someone else says they've been a nurse since 2019, and I'm trying to figure out how to leave. Like the escape from Alcatraz. I don't know whoever saw that movie. It's like they're on Nursing Island. It looked good at first, and now they're over here trying to escape. Okay. They're so tired and stressed to the max, not able to have a break, use the bathroom in 12 to 13-hour shifts, doing way too many tasks at once. It's a hard job with little appreciation. Yvonne is saying violence towards nurses go. Patients and family members have been taught that anything they do is okay. Now it's time for me to put a little story in when I was being encouraged to go into nursing back in the day. So back in the day, and then I'm gonna continue, right? Because we're like, how many jobs have you had? I've had many. All right. So back when I was younger, I knew a couple of people who were into CNA, right? And I was trying to determine whether or not I really wanted to do nursing or not. So I went and took the class and I passed and it was cool and you do all of that stuff. And then they started to put me, at that time, there weren't a lot of jobs in the hospitals. So they was putting you in people's homes. I laugh, but it's not funny. So they put me, and when you first go to an agency, now keep in mind, this is like early 2000s. So when you first go into an agency, sometimes they give you the hardest cases. They give you the hardest cases or the cases that their seasoned people do not want. So I remember they gave me this one particular case with this woman, this elderly woman. She had to be like almost in her 90s, right? And sis was over there doing the most. Like, okay, I'm supposed to make sure that you are okay, that you don't fall down, that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not your maid. I didn't come here to be, you're not Missy Ann. I didn't come here to be Kizzy, right? So the lady, I noticed that the lady started getting very forward. And pushy and demanding, okay? Waking you up at 5 o'clock in the morning, claiming she want to go bathe, and then you have to make sure she didn't fall down. And then, she wants food, she wants this. So I did all of those things, but then she started having like strange requests. And I'm like, lady, they did not hire a housekeeper. You're talking about some in-depth cleaning, right? And you're going a little bit too far with this. So I'm the type, I'm gonna let you know. So she came to me, long story short, she came to me demanding that I wash her girdle. I was like, lady, you violating right now. You did absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely not. You're violating right now. There's nothing wrong with you. You're doing too much. So the old lady, I'm not kidding you guys, she burst out into tears. She trying to play the emotional manipulation on the young Imuna. And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anyway, long story short, hey Lala, welcome to the conversation. We're gonna continue on this video. Long story short, she kept harassing me. All right. And I'm not the one. She wakes me up early in the morning and she thinks it's a 24-hour shift. So I have to remind her because at that time it was living. I was like, just because I'm living in doesn't mean I'm working 24 hours. Long story short, I called the agency. It was like, yo, get me off of this case because this lady is out of pocket. Okay. And they're over there acting like this lady wasn't difficult. Ultimately, her son comes and is like, yes, my mom is difficult. She harassed my father, this, that, and that. And that's why the father passed away. I was like, okay, son, you violated too. But my point is that they will try you. I have a next story. I'll share that one in a little bit. But I could understand in that little moonlighting stint I did as a nursing provider, okay, that people will try you. And I ain't the one. I'm gonna give y'all one more story, but let's listen to some other stories here. Let's go forward and see why some of
When
these
I went to
nurses are
nursing school,
quitting.
I never thought that I would leave the field within like 5 years, but that's what happened. My mom has been a NICU nurse for almost 17 years now, and I thought I would at least make it to 10. But within my first year of working as a nurse, I experienced lateral violence, bullying, retaliation, and severe burnout to the point where I wanted to leave my unit, but my manager was blocking my ability to switch units, so I felt trapped. Around that same time when I was really struggling and just hoping to escape my unit, something happened. The year was 2020 and something opened up. Volunteer positions to work on the COVID cohort unit at my hospital. So I was first in line. I'm like, you know what? This will help me actually
All
leave
right.
this
So
role
she's
that
going to
I'm
go
in.
into, and that's another story of why she left nursing. Again, it's the job load, it's toxicity on all sides. This is what we're hearing from the patients, from the families, from the co-workers, from the environment, from the system. The whole entire thing is supposed to be helping and nursing people, nursing them. But according to what the storyline is setting the people up for failure. Queenie says, shout out to Renee. You sound like you love. Why are you doing healthcare, even being exhausted for a short staff? Hold your head up. Shout out to the healthcare providers. They're definitely needed. There's some people who are there for good reasons and others not so much. So shout out to you as well. Dawn just says, as a nursing student, I really wish I didn't come to these comments. So that's exactly what's happening. It's like poisoning the well. The people who have gone in there are now realizing that it's a trap and they're sounding the alarm. And people who are, invested money, time, energy into nursing are having second thoughts. Kristen says they left the career after 1.5 years. It just clearly broke her mentally, physically, and emotionally. Not worth the the pennies they pay staff nurses. Another person says that hospice is the only reason they're still a nurse. So it also depends on where you get your nursing job at, I would suppose, right? It depends on what type of nurse you are and how much you value your mental well-being. Like I said, and I'll tell another story because it coming like I didn't learn my lesson when I did that first stint as a healthcare provider, a CNA. I did it in Florida, so I decided that I was going to go to New York and do it as well. But we're going to listen to some more of these videos.
Yes, I really did quit my med-surg nursing job on the spot. I handed my manager my badge. It was actually really awkward. I couldn't take my badge off of like my badge reel. So I was like, here, you do it. And then she took it off and then that was it. But yep, I handed her my badge. I left and I quit my job. Like most hospitals, my job is like understaffed where we have high acuity patients. I had up to 6 patients at once. The pay isn't well, the management sucks. So that was a lot of the reason why I quit. The main reason I quit is because of a TikTok video. So I made a TikTok video back when I had like 20 followers. My badge was, it was clearly showing. It was my first video that went viral. I've never had a video go viral. Like I said, I had only like 20 followers. That went viral. I got like over 2 million views and obviously my coworkers and my management saw it. Big surprise, they called me in for a meeting with HR. I was expecting to get disciplined. I was like, that makes sense. I get it. I will work with you guys. Immediately, they were like, final warning. They skipped like the initial warning, first warning, second warning. And I have had like no priors. I have like a clean slate. So going from like literally nothing and working there for like a year and a half to a final warning, it's like it was like a power move. Like they wanted complete control over me, and I was like, I was willing to work with them. I deleted the video. I was ready to give up content creating, just because it was too risky to my job.
Okay, so
There's so
she
many more
quit
details
because
I'm
of.
giving you guys like
Okay, hold on one
I don't
second.
know,
So she's
idea.
telling us she quit because of a situation that happened. I'm going to, if you're working in this field and you would like to share your thoughts on what we're sharing and what we're exploring, I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the box so that you can click and come in if you would like to share, because this is something I think that the general population, again, we may not think it affects us, but yeah, it certainly does. There's certain countries that they say people don't want to end up in the hospital, right? There's certain places that people don't want to end up in the hospital because of the reputation of those things. So I'm wondering, what direction is America going in as it relates to the healthcare system? Natalie says she quit her job a week after her residency was over. I don't sign the contract for bonus either. Otherwise, I would have had to stay 1.5 years. So I know I see a lot of those bonuses, $10,000, $15,000. It's like they're making sure they're trapping you. You eat the cheese and then you're stuck, right? Heidi says she stayed in a toxic position for years. She tried to find somewhere else but couldn't get hired. Then her unit wouldn't let her transfer out. Wish she had left much sooner than she did. Laura says she was being bullied by the charge nurse and her friend for months on med surge. What does this bullying look like? Because I'm not saying that it's subjective, but what does the bullying look like? What does it sound like? I'm not saying no, I'm just curious because a lot of people are saying they are being bullied. She said she texted the director and managed several times over the time span of the several months. One night, she was completely, and then let me see what she was completely. She didn't show up to her shift, and that was that. Never went back, and now she loves her new job. She fed up and snapped. It happened in the hallway, so she knew she was wrong. She called the manager on the spot and told her what happened. I was given a final warning after they refused to do anything about the situation. The nurse got sent to ICU. She still come to the med surg floor to try and provoke her. Like, what happened? Like, misery love company? Like, I don't know what's going on in the hospital. It's like as the world turns, days of our lives. Let's go to the next person.
I've been a nurse for about 5 months and I'm already on my second nursing job. For you guys who are new here, my name is Kiri and I was a postpartum nurse working bedside. As you can tell by the introduction, I am no longer a bedside nurse. I am not that girl that is going to be a bedside nurse just to say I work at a hospital. That isn't me, so I just wanted to throw that out there. If you guys were following me for my previous journey, I was so excited about being a postpartum nurse. That's all that I wanted to do. I landed my dream job and I did all of that. And now I'm just like, is this the place that I want to work at? Is these the people that I want to work with? So, you just go to ask yourself all those questions. And I feel like this is pretty cliche because a lot of nurses, new grad nurses at that, are leaving bedside instantly. It's on their, second, third, and fourth job only because of the politics, because of the people that they work with. And if you don't find anywhere that you absolutely love, you're going to hate it. It's either going to be you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. There's no in between. No in between when it comes to a job that you are going to be at constantly, giving your all into the patients, into the people, into the workplace that you're working at, and be absolutely miserable. I'm on to my next nursing job, and I'm super excited.
So she didn't quit the field altogether. She just quit those jobs and was able to pick up another one. Let's see some of the comments. Kiara says once she paid off her debts, baby, she was looking for a soft nursing job and going back for a master's in something else. Silent Storm says 5 years in and she'll quit a job if she walk in and the aura is off. 3 years in, 14 facilities later. Yo, these stats. These stats are everything. This is say 14 years, 14 facilities later. She realized there's no such thing as a job you love. It's all about what you're willing to do to put up with and for how long. A new grad says she's quitting her job because of a hostile work environment. I'm trying to figure out, so who is working? I mean, I'm not understanding if the people who are in positions to there's no continue to make it unbearable, doesn't it make their job harder? Like, why would you, I'm just asking for a friend, why would the senior nurses make it unbearable so that they can increase the workload? I'm confused. I don't understand why you would poison the well that you have to drink from. Another person says they will quit orientation before floor orientation if the vibes are off. And another person acknowledges that most new nurses are dealing with a hostile work environment. Now, Jessica, poor Jessica, 6 weeks in the ICU as a new grad. She's very discouraged. Her last shift was yesterday, and she has no idea where she is going next. So it's not like you're not churning out new nurses. It's not like people are not going to school. It's that they are not staying around. Keisha says she did bedside nursing for 6 years. It made her sick. She's been a work from home nurse for 8 years and she loved it. I think WFH is work from home. Let me know about that. And the next person says that they quit their job in 5 months. So when we saw that news report saying, I just wanted to bring this conversation here because this is important. When they're saying that thousands and tens of thousands of people are exiting the nursing community, the nursing industry, we see this. Let's continue. Somebody else.
I quit my job at the nursing home after 2 weeks. I'm gonna tell you guys why. First things first, they're very short-staffed. Yes, I know probably anywhere that I go, they're gonna be short-staffed. They declined.
This was actually 5 days ago. So this particular person quit 5 days ago. She says everybody is miserable. B, whole place is disorganized, dirty, and low pay.
My request off from a month and a half out, and I thought that was crazy. I was gonna quit anyway, but there was just nobody to take my shift. So it's just like, that's just insane to me. Second thing, call me a bitch, call me a pussy, but my resident passed away, and that has literally taken such a huge toll on me. I can't stop thinking about that day. I can't stop thinking about touching the resident's hand and how cold it was. It's just eating me alive. Yes, I know as a CNA, I'm gonna work with those type of things. Yes, I know if I become a nurse, I'm gonna be around death. Yeah, I know. Being a CNA, I'm just seeing if I even want to do bedside. I'm not set on it. Last thing is there was an incident with a resident that there was some information that I should have known about this resident. I probably should have been wearing PPE, but none of this information was relayed to me. I did talk to my aunt who is a nurse, and she said that when you do come in, you're supposed to ask for this report basically on the residents, see who.
So she's going into a little bit, I think more than some other people are, which is see whether or not you like it. You know what I mean? Which you can enter in as a CNA. Back in the day, they used to call it HHA. And so that you could determine whether or not it's something you want to do. Right? Someone named Jay says that she quit during orientation. She don't care. She's done her bid in nursing homes in high school. She physically and mentally cannot right now. She likes the structure of hospitals better than in the nursing homes. So because we also live in a culture where people don't take care of their elderly anymore like they used to, and they put them into these nursing homes, but now the people who work in the nursing homes don't want to work in the nursing homes. And so now you have elderly who are not getting the care that they need in these places, having bed sores, being mistreated, not all the time, but a lot of time, especially when there's not enough staff to meet the needs. It's something that we need to pay attention to because the system is on some real wobbly legs right now. Okay, the system is on some real, and a lot of stuff depends on healthcare. Lala says that have noticed that their short staffing has caused them to conveniently call for the recruitment of Negro staff, whom generally given marginalized leading positions. Wow. Sharon says because it's ran by women and women constantly feel threatened by women, especially older women, so they will constantly make your life Hades if you're younger and cuter per their perception. What? I can't believe all that. I mean, I know some people who work in the hospital, so I'm not saying no, but wow, all of this is happening. What is going on with the patients in this particular case. Again, I'm bringing attention to this because much like all of the other things that's going on, this affects people real time. I'm gonna go through a few more videos and wrap it up. I thank you for your feedback, because again, this is important. There are so many things in America that is connected to the healthcare system. There are a lot of industries that are connected to the healthcare system. One of the, if not, I think I went over it on this channel, one of the most, the biggest industry, if not the biggest industry in America, is healthcare. So if the very bones, if the very structure of the healthcare system is compromised, what is that telling us? What is that telling us?
The only reason it's a nurse shortage is because these girls are getting degrees for a bag. They have no empathy, no sympathy for nobody. Then their attitudes are stink as hell. And then they quit because nurse life is not what they thought. They thought nurse was going to be, oh, I'm going to walk around in cute little scrubs with Crocs on and get a $3,000 check. And then when they realized they actually got it.
There's a lot of people angry about this video on both sides. Like people agreeing with her.
So we have a woman saying, I call, you know what I'm saying, BS. And that people are being recruited into these positions, and this is why they're not lasting. Usually people who used to go into nursing saying they want to go into nursing because they want to help people. You understand what I'm saying? But now people are going into nursing because they want to get money. And so when the money is not worth the sacrifice, then those same people are turning around and leaving. Let's hear a little bit about what he has to say about that.
And being angry at nurses, and nurses saying, screw you, you don't know what we have to deal with. And I want y'all to understand something. Two things can be true at once. First of all, we all go to work for money. You will never catch me being mad at somebody because they aren't putting their all into their job, because they don't love what they do. If what you do pays you well and you love the life it provides you, but you don't love the job, who cares? I make 6 figures a year. I've been making a...
Okay, he going off the topic. Sorry, thank you, Red Blue Light.
Why all of y'all quitting?
So now we have people on the other side asking the question, what in the box side is going on? Why are y'all dipping your head and spending? If you did a 4-year BSN, if you went for accelerated nursing, you put all that time, all that energy, all that effort, why are you quitting when you get in there? You already went and committed to the process. Why are you quitting? Sharon is saying, and in long term, one nurse can take 40 patients. That is OD. That is OD. What type of customer service do you think they would get? None. The entire medical field is an L. What she said, you better pick up a book if you're sick and need help. Wow. Wow. It's a dub. Wow. It's a lot going on. There's more than, looking at Puffy's baby oil count right now. There's a lot going on, especially because of how the system is set up, right? How the people are set up, how the people are taking care of themselves, not taking care of themselves, waiting to the appointed time, the daily behaviors of people that contribute to the long-term sickness and the need for such a healthcare system, right? It's all interconnected. I could go off on a tangent, but I'm gonna stay on this one. Lala says, boy, it's such a risk to have to be admitted into hospital nowadays to become worse. It's true. It is true that we need to see the other side of this so that we can make conscious decisions in our daily lives so that you can avoid certain unnecessary needs to be in certain places, like the daily lives and the daily choices of what people eat and the behaviors that people engage in that make you more inclined to diabetes and stroke. And one person, the guy, the landlord who used to be over the restaurant, I called him in recent time and like, hey, what's going on? You know what I mean? Because he owed me some stuff. And he was like, when he heard it was me, he started giving, he started giving me this long story. I'm like, man, what's going on? Oh, he just went to the hospital for a checkup and he had to get a triple bypass. And I'm thinking, ain't you the same one? Because I had a health food spot where people, I know for a fact, I'm not just talking, what we eat contributes to the outcome. We know that. And I realized that people will Each day, make a choice and a decision to do something that's going to contribute to the decline of their health. And then when it happens, they act all surprised. It ain't no surprise. It's not a surprise. So we have to realize that daily we are making these choices, and an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, right? So let's continue to listen a little bit here.
They're quitting because they got on this app following all of the nursing influencers who can only promote the aesthetic side of nursing. And I mean, rightfully so, because you can't by law show the nitty gritty of actually working in nursing. So once they finally finished nursing school and actually got in the field, they found out that nursing was more than bog bags and Stanley Cups. They also found out that when you do travel nursing, you need to have 1 to 2 years of experience before you could go ahead and do travel nursing. And even when you get that experience, that 10K don't come easy. We actually have to work for that money, and I do mean work. I mean, and don't get me wrong, nursing is a well-paying job, but it's one of those jobs that you actually have to enjoy or have some type of passion for, or you just enjoy helping people, because it's a selfless career.
Grad nurses, why all of y'all quitting?
So she
They're
broke
quitting
that
because they
down.
got on this.
You were misinformed. You're not in it for the right reasons. The money, and you're not about that life, right? You're not about that life because it's tough territory. People are sick. People become like children when they're sick. People, all kind of in the whole environment is not it's not like you're going to a spa. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're going to a wellness retreat or something. You're in a hospital where the other day I had to go. And that's how I knew that, look, I couldn't, nursing wasn't for me. And I went in there, and this lady, it's not that I don't have a heart for people. It's just, that's not my ministry. Let me say, it's not my ministry. Right. So the lady was doing the most, like the lady was doing the most. And I'm like, wow. On the other hand, I just saw a lot of people just sitting in their scrubs at the desk and just chilling and chatting and on their phone. So, there's definitely another side to this as well, but let's continue.
I quit clinical nursing in 2017, and here's why. First of all, the bullies. When it comes to nursing, I don't know if people are miserable. I am not sure what it is, but I was bullied, and a lot of other nurses, especially Black nurses, were bullied severely in nursing. They would give us the worst assignments. If the other nurses were in charge, I was getting terrible assignments, especially if I had the nerve to speak up against anything that was going on. Suddenly I would be placed with, those doctors that nobody liked, or, the most difficult patients. And I would somehow always have the most difficult.
Didn't I just say that? I said that in my little stint as a CNA. That's exactly what they did. You go into these agencies and they're giving you the most difficult patient, the patient nobody wants, because they know they're a problem, and they act surprised when you come and report to them that person is a problem. I got one more interesting story, but I'm gonna let this lady, because she succinctly tells you why she quit. So she's bullying, which is something reoccurring.
Difficult patients. It was way out of pocket, and I was just sick and tired of dealing with all of these crazy people who really are just miserable themselves and are bringing that misery into the workplace. When you work clinically, it seems like there's only a limited number of directions that you can advance and expand your knowledge. You could be, a clinical subject matter expert. There's a couple other things, or you could go into operations or become a nurse manager. But those roles are few and far between, and there wasn't that limitless potential that I was really looking for when I first went into nursing. And the third reason is personal. When I was in high school, I really always saw myself interested in business. I saw myself getting a business degree, starting a business potentially, understanding finance. I was really always into finance, and nursing was just not really giving that to me, at least not the clinical side. And then work-life balance. When you are a clinical nurse, it was better in primary care, but if you work bedside, there's no work-life balance. You're working crazy hours. You don't get to go to holidays with your family. I remember my family, they were going to I think it was $5 Tuesdays at the movie theater, and I had to work Tuesday nights. So I was never able to go. And that was really upsetting to me, that I just couldn't control my own life outside of working hours because like I was working clinically as a nurse and I
So work life, let me let her
really
finish.
wanted that work-life balance.
Work-life balance. What did she say? Let me go back to her thing. Work-life balance, personal interest, difficulty advancing, and bullying. We see Sharon. Thank you so much for sharing, Sharon, your experiences. Her first job, they had a code. She started running. The charge nurse grabbed her and said, quote, walk slow, end quote. I don't like this resident. What, yo, Dread, what in this? And these is the people over your family members. These are the people that are in these positions. My hospital no agree. Because in these places, especially if they know that you may have somebody, just my experience, that doesn't necessarily have people who come. Like, for instance, when the twins were born and they had to go to the NICU because they were early, I was there, myself and my husband was there every day, religiously. And some of these other children, these babies in the NICU, there wasn't anybody coming. So they feel like the nurses was like slapping them in the back hard, and I'm like, this is literally a 2-day-old baby. First of all, why are you hitting this baby so hard? Oh, that's our burping mechanism. But when they knew that these two right here, their mom is on the way, guess what? Straighten up. Straighten up. Why? Because they feel as though if nobody is there, then you could just move through how you want. It left a bad taste in my mouth. It left a bad taste in my mouth. So when I'm in these places, in these medical places, that's just me personally. Let's just say they be like, here she comes. Because I want to see what you wrote. I want to hear what you say. I want to be into the meetings. I want to see your little morning uh, note transferring. I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. I don't want any misunderstandings in this conversation, right? And I know for some people it may be a pain in your day behind, but you have to advocate for yourself in these places. And you also have to if you have loved ones, you have to make sure that your concerns are being heard, because a lot of stuff is going on, right? So let's continue here. Let's listen to a little bit more.
3 reasons why I'm
Wait. So she has 3 reasons. Well, Lasita says most high positions are given to men. There's a thing called glass elevator where men are elevated into female dominated fields such as nursing. That's interesting. It's also interesting that women are thought to be nurturers. And initially, women were in these nursing positions, and a lot of it's still a female dominated field. So it's interesting to hear that this field has become so toxic, and that those who are supposed to be nursing the sick are actually themselves also mentally, emotionally, and physically oftentimes challenged in this position. It's just curious. And I think this is my thought, that because of its tie to financial gain and enrichment, because this level of a price tag has been added to this service, it has convoluted the profession. I gotta go to these Nigerian movies again. So if you watch Nigerian, they'll be like, I'm in these Nigerian movies. One thing I find so curious is that if somebody in these movies, or even in the culture, ends up in the hospital, it's pay first, service second. So they be like holding the patient for hostage. Like, yo, I can't administer this medicine unless you go get this 500,000 naira that we gonna need to administer this medicine. I'll be like, yo, y'all be doing the most. And they will literally sit there and wait for them to find a way to go get this money and come back so that they can deliver service. So there, instead of it be a credit-based system, it's a pay-as-you-go system, which is still curious because the people are not getting what they need. And it's still lacking. So sometimes the people fear to go into these situations because they're not getting the proper service. It's really sad to hear. Sharon says nursing is very slack, lots of sleeping around. Where? I said to me, because beds everywhere. Where? I won't date another nurse unless I know you. Are you kidding me? Yo, have we gone down the rabbit hole of nursing? What you said to me? Slackness. So in the hospital bed, let me hear the 3 reasons why the lady I leave.
I'm quitting
Merciful
bedside
Father.
nursing, and after this video, you'll probably feel the same way. Reason number one.
So she's already seeding the video with hopefully you'll agree with me and you'll leave too. She said after this video, you gonna feel just like me.
The job is way too physically demanding. Now, let me start by saying I am not a lazy nurse. I put in about 13,000 steps a shift, if not, sometimes even more. But the problem lies with staffing. Now, when my CNAs are staffing an entire unit of a bed of 20 plus, 30 plus patients, sometimes 40 patients, you have to move patients by yourself. You don't have the help to pull a patient up, take them back to bed, do all these demands, especially when you have no PCTs at all and you are at a 1 nurse to 3 patient ratio. It's been so physically demanding that one time I had to pull a patient up all by myself, and guess who had to file for workers' comp because they injured their back? Yeah. Reason number two why I am quitting bedside nursing is because the pay rates are way too low. Now, I used to be a travel nurse and I got really used to the high pay rates that they were giving for travel nurses. And that was all fun and games until they stopped paying travel nurses good money, what they were actually worth. And so nurses like me are now forced to go back into the normal working field, basically like full-time and part-time nursing.
They was used to that vid money. And they was used to, in this particular case, they was used to the vid money, and now it's not so lucrative.
Tell me how I had a job interview and they were trying to give me $31 the hour. In this economy, with this inflation, $31 the hour for a seasoned nurse, it wasn't cutting it. The third reason why I'm leaving bedside nursing is because management is corrupt. Now, I want to preface by saying not all management is corrupt, but being a travel nurse, I was able to see all different types of work environments, and let me just say, they're pretty much the same.
So she's giving all the corruption, and again, where there's power, where there's money, when there's follow the money trail, then you're gonna find where the corruption is, because it's about the bottom line. She's used to getting a certain pay and basically the physical demand, right? So there's a lot of people. Once again, we went through like at least a dozen videos, and we're seeing some of the same stuff. Stacy is saying it's not worth it anymore. It's insane that they have to go through, and they're constantly silenced. Right? So there are people giving advice of what they should go into. Let me come to the comment section, and then we're going to continue. For those of us joining us, we're looking at this mass exodus that's happening in the healthcare system, namely amongst the nurses. I literally was doing, because for this degree I'm finishing up, I'm in health and education and wellness, right? Because I like prevention better than cure kind of philosophy. And I was looking up how much primary care doctors there are to about almost 1,400 people. One primary care doctor to 1,400 people. So let's just say, yeah, it's a lot. Like the nurses are saying, one nurse to 40 people, that's a lot. That's a lot of stress. Sharon says, let's see here. Okay, nursing is slack. That one had me. I'm still on that one. The slackness of nursing. I haven't seen any slackness nursing videos, but I'm sure that they are out there. I see Kaya has entered the chat. We see the last thing they will never tell you, you cannot leave your shift until relief arrives. I've heard that. I've heard the saying of abandonment, that they'll get you for, I think it's abandonment. And many times you're forced to do doubles. You're welcome, Sharon. You're welcome. You're welcome. I felt the need. I felt the calling to do this video because it's important. Like I said, this is the backbone of what makes money here in America: healthcare. Healthcare. Willetta says coming at people all hard does not always mean you get the best care. In fact, the reverse is true. You get minimal effort that satisfies, not care, not empathy, not advocacy. What I found in these healthcare positions is, personally, when you sit back, it has been my experience, there is a desire to push things on you that you don't necessarily want and need. And there's the bullying that they talk about, and I'm just talking about from my minimal exposure. On the other side, the bullying that they talk about from, people to people, is of clients, and the patients also experience a level of bullying, where the people are pushing on you something that you may not need, right? And if you don't push back, then a lot of people end up getting certain procedures, or a lot of people end up taking certain things that are not advantageous. So I definitely understand you, because of the way in which the people are trained, like, oh, they're going to treat you any kind of way. But in that particular situation, I needed to go hard, because if I didn't go hard, there were things that they would have tried to push on myself as well as my children that I did not need. And there's so many people who leave discontented from their experience, especially mothers who are just going in to give birth, who are not in any danger. There's so many mothers who go in, their care plans are disregarded, they're treated as cattle, they're given epidurals, they're given Pitocin, they're given all kind of things that they don't need because they need to move them along, right? They're like, you go through all of this to get your needs met, and then you're treated like you don't matter. And so that was my experience with some highly esteemed, medical professionals, right? So I definitely understand you, but in certain cases, people have to speak up. Like, if you don't speak up and they feel away, it's better that they feel away and everybody's put on notice than you sit there. And I'm not talking about like long-term being in these positions. I'm talking about knowing what you need to go in there for, but being treated as though you have no talk and you have no say, right? Wanting to do unnecessary procedures. Like, if I go into some stuff, I ain't gonna go into some stuff. Like, let me just say, man, look. So there's so many aspects to this that we could definitely talk about. Like, I've known people who would have had like a stint in their heart through misdiagnosis. People who get unnecessary C-sections, people who get all of these procedures that did not need them because they were afraid to open their mouth. They were afraid to advocate for them. There was no one to speak up, and then everyone was just doing as they were told. And as one healthcare professional told me, covering their own behind, right? So what I found is that there was no empathy or advocacy on the behalf of the healthcare workers. I know of one young lady who advocated for her right to breastfeed her child after they forced her into a C-section, and they took the child away from her because they felt as though, and she asked them not to give the child formula and that she would breastfeed, and that if they would bring the child, then she would nurse the child. And they literally took the child from the mother because she insisted on breastfeeding. There's a lot of stuff going on out here. I definitely understand there's pressure on all sides, but yeah, this one is about why the nurses are leaving. So we're going to definitely thank you for that. We're going to continue here.
Y'all need to stop going to go become nurses and CNAs because it's trendy. Then you actually get a job and realize that these are real patients with real situations, real trauma, and real death. It's more than just cute scrubs, a ball bag, and a Stanley Cup. You have to have the skill, will, and empathy to work in healthcare. This is not for jokes. This is not a game. This is not like a fashion show. These are people's lives. These are people's family members. These are people's loved ones. Get into the field because you have a passion for it, not because you want to make more money or you chasing a certain look. Stop it, please. Y'all need to stop.
She makes some important points, but you also have to be compensated for the energy that you put in. But she does make some important points that get into it because you want to do it. Because if not, you're not going to stay. As we're seeing that a lot of people are like, it's not worth it, and they are leaving. But there are also some, and I guess I'll put the little story right here, while I was like, nah, I'm good. Okay. Like I said, this was like 20 years ago. For those who just joined us, welcome to the conversation. I'll be winding down in a little bit. I'll put the link in the box if you want to share, but definitely you could type it and I will read your comment. So I decided to move this whole healthcare thing to New York. And they put me on a case with a woman who once again thought that they hired the housekeeper and the help. Okay. And she thought that she could talk to me all kind of way. Like, I'm gonna respect you, and I ask that you respect me. And she thought she could talk all kind of way, all kind of way. And I was like, yeah, no. But there's a difference between being respectful and communicating what your need is and just acting as though people are beneath you. Like, I don't go into these spaces and acting as people are beneath me, but at the same token, it goes both ways. There's a level of reciprocity, there's a level of mutual respect that if it's not there, it can cause a problem. Long story short, I had to tell them to, yeah, go ahead and get me off this case because sis is wilding. Right? But there are other people who would continue to take the abuse and then, just deal with it. Maybe they go home and they take it out on their family members, or they take it out on their liver and they drink. Who knows? Because when you get all of that stress and all of that anxiety deposited in your spirit, what happens? Where do you put it? Where does it go? Right? So that's all that stuff is important. Let me go ahead and see a few more. When you spent 4 years in nursing school to quit nursing after 3 months. Now, are they just 3 months? Like, did you give it long enough? These nurses joined for money, which she understands, but rather than the actual love and care for the patient, nursing is a calling. Someone else said they worked as an X-ray technician, went through nursing school, passed NCLX, LEX, worked 4 months as a nurse, then quit. She hated it. Maybe you should have started as a CNA to determine whether or not it's something that you wanted to do. Someone else says it's been 12 years, they're done. So where are they going? Because there's two, and I'm going to come in here and do teachers ones too, because there's two industries that's getting hit hard, down bad. And they're not even paying the teachers as much as they're paying the nursing, because the nursing and the doctors and the healthcare industry is a money-making venture. It's a money-making venture. So they even get paid more than the people who are sitting and watching the children all day and, quote, teaching the children, right? So we have a problem, Houston. Teachers are not revered and respected in this country. And now the backbone of the medical system are leaving in droves. Houston, we have a problem.
I'm a nurse, and I gave up my 3 12-hour shifts for a 6-figure job in tech, and I'm here to talk about the pros and cons of what I do. A lot of times I'll get asked.
Okay. She left nursing for a 6-figure job in
I'm
tech.
usually not a Debbie Downer, but I hate it here. I've had a couple shifts where I even question if I want to do this anymore. There's so many things wrong with nursing. I'm usually not a Debbie Downer, but I hate it here.
All right, y'all. So this is it. I'm gonna go
Let's
ahead.
talk about why I left nursing.
One more.
As a staffed OR nurse in 2017, I was making $25 an hour. There was no regulations on breaks, so the only real break that I had was during lunch. I worked almost every major holiday, weekends and nights. Not only were the patients disrespectful, the doctors were disrespectful, and then your fellow nurses were probably next level fucking rude. The saying that the nurses eat their young is 100% true. My only other conclusion of why the nurses are mean to the young nurses is because they are so bitter about their job. They've been around working their same job for the last 10 to 15 years. And because they're miserable, they're gonna be miserable to you because you're young, and they're jealous and they hate their job, they hate their life.
Not the jealousy.
Between awful pay, terrible work-life balance, and on top of that having to deal with the catty clickiness of nurses, that just done sent me over the edge.
And again, I bet you the teachers are like, awful pay. Have you seen the teacher's paycheck? Right? The teachers are at school for hours every day teaching children who don't show up ready to learn. Like Houston, we have a problem. We have a problem. I'm going to go ahead and wind down. Let me check these last few comments, and then definitely let me know your thoughts. Where is, sometimes people wait till something comes up on them and say, oh my goodness, this is a problem. You can literally look down the road. I was going to say lane, then I said road. You can look down the lane and see that in 5 to 10 years, this is going to be a big problem. It's already a problem. Okay. If you look at, which this is what I'm in the middle of a project. If you look at the rates of obesity, pre-diabetic in this country, 1 out of 5 people are pre-diabetic. Okay. You have obesity rates in the millions. You have high blood pressure. You have stroke. You have cancers running amok. These conditions are landing people into the facilities that are understaffed, underpaid, and burnt out. How is this going to work? How is this going to work? They talk about how the issues that are related to these conditions contribute to the economic loss, because when people don't feel well, they call out of work. And when people don't feel well, then they not only use their PTO, or they go on disability, or this, that. How is this all going to work? And if all the people are leaving the field, what in the world? Let me come and see these comments. I'm just thinking to myself, how is this all going to work? What is wrong with this thing here? Okay, let's see here. We see Lala says, Grown Up Jamaican says, I see people uniform doing too much on social media. Maybe for them it's the outlet. I know some people who work in a hospital. They say people stay with their phones. The nurses stay with their phones in their back pocket in this particular hospital, stay on social media. Maybe that is their escape. Maybe they're under so much stress. I don't know. Maybe to them that's their only salvation, their only escape. Lala says, do you know, I believe that the staff cutbacks have been orchestrated to fail on purpose. It's very strategic. They want a reduction in survival rates. Curious, very curious. Something to consider. But also, is it also the quitting of the people? Grown Up Jamaica said the nurses are very well paid and miserable to the high heavens. So, this thought of they're not getting paid enough for what they do. But again, I have been looking recently at some of these teacher positions. I wouldn't even say laughable. It's downright disrespectful what they're trying to pay teachers to basically raise these children. It's not even laughable. It's disrespectful. Disrespectful. And these children are not all, but a good majority, because next we're going to look at the teachers. All right. They're not coming to school prepared to learn. They're not coming to school disciplined. They're not coming to school to take correction. Just take a look at an instance of when the teachers, there's a little thing they have where the teachers pretend to be the student for the day. I'm going to show some of that as well, because where are we going? The work ethic in the society, the stick-to-itiveness, the emotional, mental fortitude. There's a lot of stuff that's on a great decline. How is this going to work? How's this going to work? Sharon says, oh, I forgot this is true. I've never met a truly happy nurse, one who could be in the field for a decade or more. Never. Yo, it's not funny, but what? Slack, unhappy nurses. Nurses, we appreciate what you do. CNAs, they said the people who get the least respect are the CNAs. Right? So even in this system, I hear, because I know some people directly in this industry, that the doctors talk to the nurses like they're less than. That, correct me if I'm wrong. And then the nurses act like the CNAs are their do girls and do boys. So it's a whole hierarchy that does not lead to, well, I know they didn't tell us that it was supposed to be a healthcare, like a wellness system, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So there are no, according to her experience, no happy nurses. Wow. Is it sad? I think there was a young boy. Hold on, let me. The pay rate of teachers is disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Why Kaya said him like woman in a scrubs. When him see them in, give them little trouble. What you say, Kaya? Him like the night nurse. Him like the nice nurse. Let me find out. Sharon says that she's happy if her CNA speaks English. There's a young man on here, and I must say I'm proud of him.
Okay, good morning. Come with me as a nurse for 4.5 days to quit my job because I was a little disrespected. Not little, very disrespected. Anyway, here I am waking.
Wait, but I'm also wondering how much is this soft lifestyle? Like, how much is it of the toxicity in nursing, and how much is it of this new age soft lifestyle type of thing, right? I don't know. So she's like, come with me as she quits her 4.5 day nursing job.
Waking up on the toilet contemplating, do I want to do this? The answer is yes. Yes, I do. If you're ever disrespected, you don't like it, feel free to leave. Here I am taking my second poop of the morning. Very anxious, very stressed.
Lady, you ODing. That's TMI. We don't want to see you on the toilet, Famsy.
I have been kicked, punched, pinched, spat on, slapped, anything and everything you can think of physically and verbally. I have been called every single name under the sun. I quit being a registered nurse after 5 years in the field. The shift work was just insane on my body. I could not cope with the night shifts, the constant changes from the evening shift to the morning shift.
And that's not the first time I've heard them say, like, Reggie, you lick me, I'm going to lick your back, you know. Where I say bite and thump and punch and all of them something there. No, yeah. I could work with children very respectfully. But bro, not when you embolden these adults emboldened to abuse people. Okay, this is the young youth, and I'm gonna end on this one. This is the young youth. He has a different mentality. His whole TikTok is about how he's leveling up. He's a CNA, right? He says that he was able to buy his house and pay his cars, and everybody's good, right? So he shares a lot about his life as a CNA. So I wanted to give him some props because it's not all gloom and doom. He's also putting out content to encourage other young youths. Like, if they could put their mind to it, then they could do it, right? So this is interesting to see. He has a totally different mindset, and he's going in there. Let's watch him a little bit, and then we're gonna wind down.
So yes, I do like blow as a nurse. And bro, nursing, bro, literally to get your CNA, it'll only take like 4 weeks a class, a daytime class. If you want to do a nighttime class, it'll take longer, like 6 weeks. But I'm telling you, like, that money, you automatically gonna be making like 20 an hour or up. It's not gonna be that ShopRite job. It's not gonna be that Chick-fil-A job. It's not gonna be that FedEx job. Literally, you could get fired. If you have your license, you could get fired in the next job, the next day, and literally work. You get union benefits, you get time differential. Like, literally at nighttime and afternoon, you make more than the morning shift. Like, literally, like.
So it's a mentality. At one time in this country, and I think I saw somebody put it up there. I think I'll go look for it. They was like, give a shout out to the Caribbean people, those who came from overseas, Philippines, and all of these different places that made CNA and nurse work look cool. Because there was a time in this that this is who was doing this type of work, right? We all have family members who came in over here in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and was doing this type of work. And now people went into these types of work and thought it was easy, but it wasn't, right? I think I'm gonna find that video because I have to agree based on what the experience is. They didn't tell you it was easy. They just told you that they did what they had to do. So this youth is coming in with that type of mentality, like, yo, I'm gonna go in here and do what I have to do.
There's so much OT. You could come to work late, and
Did he say
all they need
late?
is your heart. Like, you could be tad. Like, I'm literally like one of the taddest nurse over there. I'm about to get a chest piece, a neck piece, but I'm tatted up. All they need is your heart, bro. Like, you can even have a criminal record or whatever. But basically, bro, I'm basically a nurse. I'm in LPN right now. I'm about to be a licensed practical nurse in by June. I'm in my second semester right now, but literally this shit turned my whole life around because I was working at.
So he decided not only is he gonna do the CNA, my man have a plan. My man say I'm gonna do CNA, he gonna work that. He went back and get LPN. And come on, you have to give the man so on the other side, he has a different mentality and he's coming to get it how he get it, right? So I have to rate him for this.
That shop, right? I got 2 kids. My checks was 300 every week. Now me, bro. Now my checks every 2 weeks, I'm at least touching like 3 or 2, so I'm making like 6,000. And think about it, this agency. What other job y'all know got side hustles where you could clock in through your phone and make money through your phone, and you could go any job you want? What job? Tell me what job do that, bro? I was doing agency on Clipboard. A lot of y'all might know Clipboard, bro. I was making at least 1,000 a week on Clipboard while still staff at my job, and the money come direct deposit. So no other job is doing that. You gotta work when.
So yeah, I just wanted to share him because I have to appreciate what he's doing because there's a lot of negativity, and if everybody walks away, then there isn't going to be anybody to do the work, right? I just wanted to.
I don't know if you notice this.
I wanted to share that because I know that this can be disheartening.
Jamaicans them on the
Hold on. I want to pause him because this is the video that I was referencing when that wasn't a cool work. It wasn't a cool work to be a CNA. It wasn't a cool work for white people behind. It wasn't a cool work for the living work. And to tell you the truth, a lot of these agencies, when people ain't had no paperwork, a lot of these agencies was hiring people without paperwork and paying them little and nothing. But because they were glad to have a work, they showed up and did the job. Right. And so they got a certain type of care. There was one lady that came in and said, if you have a Caribbean CNA, them are go powder, beard, lotion up the patient, have them sit up and ready to go. So it's really a mentality. I think that we're seeing that some people may not be accustomed to that, and that's where you may be getting a different result. Lala says nurses quitting due to, hold on there, disregard, disrespect, and stress. School teachers likewise. Teachers are at risk from pupils. I'm gonna have to come in and do the teachers one because there's another mass exodus, all around the country. I mean, thousands of teachers over the last couple of years, thousands. I'm talking about senior teachers done. It's a problem. It's a big problem. There's children graduating from college without the capacity to read. When I heard that the other day, I said, no, man, can't be. They are being pushed along, and some of them graduate and cannot read past a 3rd to 5th grade level. If we can be the change, that's why I advocate for literacy, advocate for reading, listen, turn around and help somebody, encourage them, tutor them, do what we can do, because if you don't pull up the generation behind us, it's trouble. Grown Up Jamaica says you got to go in with a plan and an aim. Get in and get the bag and get out. And that's what that young man is doing. So you can't just be like, oh, gloom and doom him now, watch no face. Right? Because he has a plan. And if mind sharp, he'll make his way all the way up to becoming a doctor if that's his ambition in life. So it's really all about what's the plan. If this is the end of the road and you want to be a nurse and then you're done, maybe you don't see a future in it, right? But those who have the heart, I know that it's difficult out here. I know that for me personally, the way I deal with people and energy, some people absorb a lot of energy. I do that. So certain industries and certain spaces is not the best for me. It takes me a longer time to recover. That's why if you see me, do certain heavy things here on YouTube and then you see me take a few weeks off, is because that's how I process. And I know people have different tolerance levels, right? So let's listen to this guy talk about how this particular field became cool. And I literally saw it because I tell you the truth, 20 years ago, this wasn't cool. Just a short 20 years ago, this wasn't cool. Okay? This field was not cool.
CNA job.
I make the CNA job look so cool. The American woman them never want to do them type of job, you know, since of where you see all of them want jump in and them want do it because them say, oh, the Caribbean people them come up and them do it. And I say, but no, the person that buy a house so tight, the person that live nice so tight, the person that, you know, buy a car, you know, just to live nice. You know, like when I say, you know, live lavish, but you know, live nice. People used to say, oh, man, I think no shit, like, man, I do that, man, I look after no old people, sit down in our house, you know, old people so much in the hours and them stuff then. Jamaicans come up here and make the thing look cool, bro. I know the internet starts, you know, make it look extra cool. Everybody want to know, oh, you go to which part you go do your course, this, that, which part you go do your little, you know. Everybody want a case for work and all of these things. The Jamaicans and the Caribbean people, the Asians, them, the Jamaicans, them, the Guyanese, them, and them come over here in America and make that job look cool. The Americans, them, never want to do that type of job, bro. Them just want to jump and just go straight to RN. You see me? Them just want to jump and go straight to RN. But now, if you look on the media, bro, the amount of Americans will saturate CNA jobs now, dog. Big woman thing. So, we are not known for only the bad, but we're known for the good because we set a lot of trends. We might not be the first to do it. When I say we are the first to do it, you know, but how we make it look cool. We make the job look so cool.
How many people think he's talking the truth?
Even Jamaican man too, I have Jamaican male CNAs as well. You get me?
I mean, based on what I saw, based on family members that came here, based on the people I saw with my own eyes do this work, from what I saw, just from my perspective, he's speaking some facts. It wasn't the thing, okay? It wasn't the thing. Now, this is the other one last video that I wanted to share.
Amazing they are, and they really are. But can we talk about the Jamaican CNAs? The Jamaican CNAs are going to have your patients up in the chair for breakfast, smelling like Johnson & Johnson, with the sheets changed and the bed made, a full pitcher of water on the bedside table, plus the vitals checked on time, plus the blood sugar checked with the machine docked on the charger so that you can actually see it. Yeah, give them their flowers.
So what you don't really see is in this space is a lot of Caribbean people saying they're quitting. I guess they're used to feisty people and they're used to certain things. You don't see a lot of Caribbean people in this particular space. All the videos that I went through, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that you're not seeing those people saying they're quitting. You understand? Because there's more and more people still coming who say, no work, no little somebody we need somebody to look after them, no little this, that, and this, that, and this, that. You know what I mean? Just random people coming up to me asking, no nobody we tell me I never heard that before. But Grown Up Jamaican says, I remember when I got here in the early 90s, the Black Americans said that we messed up the game. They used to get paid so much more. We came to work harder and took less. And part of that was because a lot of people didn't have no papers. Not all, but a lot of people didn't have papers, so they were willing to do it. And plus, the living work would provide a space to live, especially if the people didn't have no money. So it's like you're getting paid, you can catch up yourself, you got some living work, and then you go from there, right? So yeah, definitely I could see how it would mess up the game. AI cyborg going to replace medical staff. That's going to be interesting. That is going to be interesting. Grown Up Jamaica says, certified doodle cleaner with pride, as we say way back then. I mean, people got to do what people got to do. Indonesian and Filipinos in New Zealand, so much love. And yeah, there was a lot of Filipino nurses, Indonesian nurses, Caribbean nurses. That's who started coming in here and doing the do. You understand me? I said, and now we're seeing like the flood, and them time they wasn't getting paid no big money. But now we're seeing the flood of people going into the industry, but don't have, like they say, the heart to be in the industry, and it's causing a problem. Kaya says, I mean, it's what's happening now as well. It's not just that; it happens in all different industry. Right now, that millions of people just came into country, and for those who are willing to work, they're going to go ahead and do things that other people weren't necessarily willing or desired to do, and that's just the reality. If we look at the way that America built, a site bill. I think we've talked about this before. America was an economic, among other things, it started out as a business. It's an economic venture, right? And so it started out in a model where they had to pay less for labor so that they can turn the profit that they felt was advantageous for the risk that they were taking, right? So, and if healthcare is a business, which indeed it is, then a business has to have a product. So then one have to say, well, what's the product? You understand? What's the product or service that the person is using or marketing? You understand? So there's a lot that's going on here, but what's happening is the mentality that is changing. So I showed a lot of videos. I'm sad to hear this. I'm sad to see what is going on, but it's going on and we need to stay woke. Okay? We need to stay woke because this thing may not seem like, oh, this not nothing for the women right now. They want to go count how many bottles of baby oil. I know I said that before that PDD has on the wall, right? People out here counting the bottles of baby oil, but there's some bigger fish to fry right now. There's some bigger fish to fry because enough things are gone in the earth. You know what I mean? That I don't know why this thing keep coming like this every time I do this thing. Hold on, people. I'm going to go to the comments and then I'm going to go ahead and wind down. Yep. Grown up said we were the border crashes of 50 and 40 years ago. Yeah, there's always waves of immigration. There has all from the onset. The people who came to America was a wave of immigration. I'm quite sure that the Native Americans said the same thing. Where them people are go? They were a wave of immigration. Right? There's always been a wave of immigration from Irish to Italian to German. There's always a wave of immigration here. Right? There's some people who willingly came. There's some people who came under duress. If you look at how they seeded the land with the indentured servants, and even how they seeded it with this is an interesting little fact that I have found out during the study of how they got captains to man these ships and come over here and people to work on the ships when they were stealing people from the west coast of Africa is what they would go into the taverns and the bars in Europe. And the people who had tabs or who were in debt, they would take them as debt slaves and force them to work off their debt on the ships, force them into the conditions of this country and work off their debt. Some of them wanted to leave because of the famines and things that were going on, and they would give them a 360 deal, right? 7 years of indenture, and they were forced to do these jobs because they were poor where they were coming from and they're poor here. So there's a lot of immigration stories that happen in the West, and this one that we're experiencing isn't much different. So the same way you're looking at other people today is the same way people were looking at those who came in during that time. And yep, free and cheap labor. That is the playbook. That is the playbook. So here we are. We feel sorry for the teacher them right now. Why? That's another story for another day. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and just taking time to kind of hear the nurses who did come on, the healthcare workers. Our thoughts and prayers are with you, who did come on, who did share, who will share in the comment section below, those who are willing to share their story, because without the people hearing what you're going through and empathizing with you, like the story that we just heard, oh, slow down because you don't like this person. So somebody life and death is in these people's hand and they're playing with it. Wow. Right? When money comes into this space, when money comes into health and healing, it is going to become a corrupted space. It's going to become corrupted, right? And that's what I have found, that there is corruption. Some of the things that people are being suggested to take some of these procedures. One, I'll leave it at this. One day, something happened, and I had to go to a very prestigious hospital. I will name them nameless, okay? But very top prestigious hospital. And these jokers, this nurse lady, I know she's just following orders and protocol, needed to do some tests. And I exaggerate not. The lady came into the room with over 10 vials in her back pockets, 5 and 5 in each. I'm going to turn to the woman and said to her, she needed to take blood because they needed to run some tests. I said to her, where are you going? And to whom do you think you're going to extract 10 vial of blood? And at that juncture, I tell her, I said, listen, let me ask you something. What are these tests about? And when she began to show, and they have the blood, so they'll have the printout and they'll begin to tell you what test is what. You see, when we go into these certain places, I know, people don't feel comfortable advocating for themselves, but if you don't, who's going to do it? And when she went down some of the tests, some of the unnecessary tests, because every test them run is a code. Everything them do is a code where you get for bill, where you get for collect money from insurance. So in that particular situation, I saw a whole lot of unnecessary tests that they say, once we get you, we going to make sure we get everything. I said, lady, you ain't getting that much from me. Not doing it. Not doing it. Right. And I realized at all of these different points in my experience with this particular setup, it's about how to get the most money, even if it's at the expense of the person you're trying to help. I'm going to go ahead and come off my soapbox now because I am impassioned by this, but for very different reasons. When people's quality of life is compromised, and things are done that they have to live with for the entirety of their life, while the people get to move on and go on and live their lives, it's not a small matter. But with that said, no, really, Lila, really, you're grown up Jamaica, you better learn to advocate for yourself when you go into these institutions. It's 100%. 100%. It's not to be belligerent. It's not to try to tell the people who went to school that they don't know their job. What I'm saying is you better know something, because your ignorance will be used against you. Like I said, there are people who go in there. And I'll leave it like this. Birth is a natural process. People have been and continue to give birth all around the world for millennia. But Western medicine has made birth an event that's suitable in all cases for a hospital setting. Now, I'm not saying that there are not extenuating circumstances and true high risk situations in which women need to go into hospitals to have these interventions, right? But every pregnancy does not require hospital intervention. And maybe I'll come at another time and talk about, as I researched the history of how the birthing industry moved from midwifery into hospitals and the smear campaigns. I think I talked about it before. And the media campaigns that went out against the art of midwifery, to where you have to search high and low, near and far, to find a qualified midwife because they've pushed them to the fringes. And there are things that they do in the hospital, not all, but many, that are counterintuitive to the process of giving birth. And so what that does is that creates an environment where more people have to have procedures and intervention that equal more money. Because a natural birth is less, quote, money and advantageous than a C-section. A C-section requires the anesthesiologist. It is qualified as a surgery, and people get more money. Doctors get more money. The hospital gets more money. Insurance pays more for a C-section than they do for a natural birth. So you have to follow Ricky Lake. I don't know if you guys remember. Come on, you gotta remember Ricky Lake from in the 90s. Okay. She did a documentary called The Business of Being Born. As you begin to see how something so simple as administering Pitocin or trying to help along the mother can an epidural can slow contractions and slow the process, and now the baby's in distress, and then all of a sudden now you got to cut, you got to do all of these things because you interrupted the natural process. That, and the fact that many women, because any amount of discomfort like we're seeing in the nursing space means I have to get out, I can't do this, I can't endure. So the discomfort also is a pain point that they are able to exploit and be like, oh, you feel bad, you're hurt, no problem, let me go ahead and give you this epidural so you don't feel anything. As y'all can tell, this is why I went back to finish up some stuff in this area, because advocacy is important. The after effects of epidurals are crazy. Hold on. Epidural. Hold on one second. If you look at some of the things that they're getting paid, that's why some of these hospital bills, the average cost of having a baby is $18,000. Huh? Huh? What? $18,000? What are we talking about? Anyway, maybe we'll look at that at another day, because I want to talk about that. Let me know if you want to talk about that, because it's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. Okay? That one thing leads to another. The contractions are designed by the creator to help bring the baby down into position to expel it out of the womb. Like, yeah, bro, you got to go. Eviction time. And if you interrupt that process, if everything that you give the mother enters into the baby, then how does that epidural affect the child? Questions. I'm going to go look up at another time how much some of each one of these procedures individually cost, and why people are being pushed. It's like the upsell. What do you mean you want to have a child naturally? What's your problem? What do you mean you want to get up and walk around? What are you talking about? So you have these little enclaves throughout the country, birthing centers or hospitals that are geared towards natural birth, right? But they're few and far in between. Few and far in between. So with that said, so as not to get too far off of why nurses are quitting, right? Yeah, this has been enlightening. I thank you so much for tuning in. This is just a little something. If you missed the video I released earlier about the woman who was it was advised for her to sell her soul to make it into the music industry, go ahead and check out that video, because that one is kind of wow as well. That one is in the Destiny Swap thing. I do see some more stuff coming across, but hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and play this. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip for Island Twist. Another book will be coming out soon. I just have a few more edits to do on that. So definitely, if you have read Island Twist, big up yourself. If you want to know what it's about, I have some videos on the channel as well. I will be right back, and then we're going to boogie. Island Twist follows Jackie Brown, a young girl who finds herself head over heels for the new island boy at school in fresh outer yard, and Jackie has the fever. But as she navigates the ups and downs of her new crush, things quickly spiral out of control when her not so secret admirer becomes determined to sabotage her relationship. So check out the new novel, Island Twist, over on Amazon today. Now back to the story. All right, all right, all right. Give thanks, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for rocking with us. We're almost 2 hours in. And again, this is something that is important. This affects us here and now. I love history, but history also repeats itself. So it's all important to be able to watch and to pre-think and know where this thing is going so that take we can take the proper precautions to be able to make the right decisions to navigate our lives. And that means each and every day, if we can make one choice that's going to lessen our chances of developing some preventable diseases, then we should do that, right? Growing up Jamaica, you're welcome, Lala. Growing up Jamaica says 24 years ago, her daughter's delivery and prenatal care was $150,000. What you said to me? No, sir. No, we have to come back contact about this. We have to come back contact about this. We have to come back. $150,000. It was a house for Gilbert. I'm not saying that in emergency situations that a C-section, which in antiquity, when they first came in with this, it was thought that when the mother didn't make it through, then they would perform a C-section to save the baby alive, right? But today it's being used as an alternative to natural birth, right? So we're going to come in and have that conversation because I think that's also contributing to the caliber, the experience that we're having. And I know this is a touchy subject and some people be like, oh, Mona, I don't agree with you. But that's why we have these type of conversations. Wow. Well, we're going to come back and talk about this business of birth because it's something that is near and dear to me. I have experience in this area and I have seen and heard some things. All right. So with that said, be sure to press like, subscribe, share, put on your notification button for when we go live. And then, yeah, we'll come back again. All right. Everybody have a blessed day. Wait, I could get a little clap. Clap it up for yourself. Clap it up. Clap it up. Yeah, man. Clap it up.